father to introduce himself tonight.
So I can start?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Guess what?
Okay. I have a Philadelphia accent, so that might be a little problem. I will do my best, and I will make sure that I speak clearly. Okay. The witching hour is 8 o'clock. We will not go beyond 8 o'clock. All right? And sisters, the way I'm going to work it is I'm going to just offer some points for reflection, and then I'm just going to have you talk with each other for a little while about a couple questions that I have for you, and then we'll just share it back and be done by 8 o'clock. Okay? So my name is Father Charlie Strollo, Lazarus Congregation of the Mission and Ascension. I went to Princeton, to St. Joseph's Prep Seminary, way back in 1964, when I was 18 years old. That was a long time ago. And it was there that I met the Sisters of the Precious Blood, who worked there and who cooked there for those 2 years that I was there. And then I came back to Princeton as an ordained Vincentian, and the Precious Blood Sisters were there for my first 6.5 years, if I remember correctly, from 1973 to January of 1980, maybe 80 or 81, I forget exactly. And so my experience of the sisters, the German sisters, were meals. Okay, and we either had enough or we didn't have enough. Okay, but they worked together as a unit very well with each other. They enjoyed each other's company because I understood no German, but I could understand humor. Okay, and they were humorous. And when they had their times of conflict, I could hear that too. and I would pray with them, for Mass and going over to the chapel with them. And I was always moved, always caught by them. And they worked very hard. They worked very hard. And were very good to us priests, and were very good to us seminarians. So my experience was positive. And when the day came, Sister Eklund came to me, and I at that time was the rector of the seminary, to say that the sisters were leaving, and that it was a monumental change for the seminary and for them and for us. So that's a little bit of my background with the Precious Blood Sisters. I was ordained, I took vows in 1970, and I was ordained in 1973 with 5 other guys in my class as Vincentians, and I've been a Vincentian priest for 51 years. And I come before you as a Vincentian priest who has done a variety of things for the poor and with the poor, both as in seminary formation and in pastoral work as a pastor and as an associate pastor, and working with different cultural groups, particularly in North Carolina, where I worked with Spanish, Vietnamese, Africans, a variety of nations, and African Americans. And as I alluded to earlier, my English was Philadelphia, my Spanish was terrible, And my Vietnamese, God only knows. And my French teacher once said that my French was the worst French he ever heard. So I must say to you that most of my time has been in the Philadelphia, New Jersey area, except for 4 years in North Carolina, in Greensboro, North Carolina, which I enjoyed immensely because of all that cultural mix. And even though I spoke the languages lousily, I felt at home with people. And it was just really, 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 really important. So, that's a bit of my background. And Sister Nancy shared with me the charism of the Sisters of the Precious Blood. And so it's very similar to us. And I was put by this. We are called to live in community for mission, proclaiming the message of reconciliation, healing, and peace to the world. Minister especially to the poor, to women, children, to marginalized, and the vulnerable in society as we endeavor to respond to the I thirst of Christ in our world. And then there's a piece that says, Father Founder asks us to be joyful, valiant women of faith, whose mission territory is the kingdom of God, which has no boundaries. So, what do I do with that? Well, this is what I was reflecting on. I was reflecting on something that we all have in common. It's called community. Community in mission. I shared that with you as a Vincentian. And so I would like to talk with you tonight about community in mission. And community exists when we live it, not just talk about it, when we live it concretely and when we live it vitally. And so I want to share with you 5 moments of community. Okay? And just share with you some thoughts about that. Not in order of importance, but there are 5 moments of community which we all share in together as a community in mission. So the first one that I'd like to speak about is meals. Okay? Meals are a primary sign of unity, of coming together. And you know, like, I don't know about your own families, but I know about our family. When we get together for a meal or a festive occasion, we talk. We talk with each other about things that have happened in the past. We talk with each other about things that are going on in the present. And we talk about other people. Okay? And the part of that that's real is there are stories. And there are a lot of good stories. And in some ways, challenging stories. But we tell each other those stories. And so, not every meal can be that way. Nor am I suggesting that. But meals are a prime time for good human communication. Okay? And because again, for Sisters of the Precious Blood, as well as for Vincentians, we recall stories from our past and speak of wonderful women and who we've known, wonderful men who we've known. And then there's something about people from different cultures, and I live in a multicultural house, where people express new insights and new ways of responding and new values, just different ways of looking at things, okay, that I myself would not see. And so it's good to talk about those things. So I was saying I said to Sister Nancy and to Sister Ethelyn earlier, you know, I had to tell the guys at a meal about the fact that I forgot where I was. That is to say, I was asked to speak with one of the seminarians, and a seminarian lived on the third floor at the end of our building. So at the end of our home. So I said, sure, I'll go up. So I was very, very tired. Okay, so I go up, go to the end of the hall, knock on the door is already half open, and I yell out the guy's name. I walk in, I discover it's not the guy's room, but it's my room. I couldn't believe it. I was exhausted. And so I was like shaking my head. And then I went up to the third floor, went to the end of the hall, and found the guy. And the first thing I did was tell him the story. Okay? And I made sure that everybody knew that night the story. All right? So it's things like that that are really important. They're very human things. But meals do that. And so what's the most important thing? It's listening. Okay? It's what they call attentive listening. Interested in one another. Interested in our different backgrounds. And you guys have a lot of different backgrounds. Okay, more than where I live. Okay? And those histories, those gifts, they're great. They're important to be able to share because we bring a lot to that in terms of who we are. Okay? And it means a lot. And again, like I live with young people. Okay? I'm not young. I live with young people. But it makes a big difference. And here in this community, there's a variety of ages here and a variety of histories. Okay? Meals are a prime time of expressing ourselves as a community. Okay? And then a piece of meals is Eucharist. What we do here. Either in Mass or in communion services. Whatever form that takes. Because where it is, it's attentive listening to the Word of God. And it's genuine sharing in faith. And we're bringing our relationship with God in this. And sisters, I don't have to tell you this, but you know that our relationship with God is key to this life of faith. Okay? Otherwise, it's not doable unless we have a relationship with God, individually and communally. And so the Eucharistic meal plays a very, very important piece in this. So, the first moment, then, is meals. In community. Second moment, prayer. Okay? And there are a couple things about prayer. One, the common liturgical prayer that we experienced this afternoon in praying evening prayer together. Okay? There's something about being beautiful, doing something beautiful for God, doing something beautiful with God, and to be able to do that beautifully and meditatively, and that's a significant means of our contact with God. It's a significant means of our contact with one another. It's a significant means of our contact with, in trying to draw other people to us, young people to draw to us. Prayer makes all the difference in that. And so our prayer moment is very, very important. And therefore the whole thing of being able to support one another in prayer. You know, and if your experience is anything like my own, we all have days. We all have days where we're tired, exhausted, and there are other feelings that come through, but we show up. And sometimes the best thing that we can do for praying is showing up. And we're here. We're here for each other. We're here for our God. So that's the second moment. Meals first, and second, prayer. Not in order of priority, but in order of the way that I'm talking about. Third, fun. Fun is a moment. So, if prayer is the human heart searching for God, which it is. Humor helps us to realize that God is unpredictable. Okay? And if we think we're unpredictable, and we are, certainly in our experience we know that God is unpredictable. And it's an ability to be able to appreciate the unpredictability of God. Now, what do I mean by that? There are many things in life that don't make sense. Now, you try to add them up and say, how could this be? It doesn't all add up. It doesn't all make sense. It doesn't all fit together. And we come to a conclusion at some point, that's life. And we can respond to it in a couple ways. One way is to be down on life. Nothing goes right. I feel awful. Blah, 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 blah. And the other is, here it goes again. It's like me going to the wrong room. Okay? Gotta have a sense of humor about that. Otherwise, I could be like, I'm losing my mind. Okay? And that leads to other conclusions. Okay? Humor is significant. Okay? And therefore, in community, it is important to have fun. Okay? And it prevents us from being overly serious about ourselves. I must say to you, when I was much younger, I was too serious about myself. Okay? And it was not healthy for me at all. And so it is important that we learn to relax together, laugh together from time to time, that we enjoy each other's company, because sometimes what happens is we see different pieces of a person's personality that we might not see otherwise. My experience is, there are some things that guys do, and I said, oh my God, I never saw this side at all. You know, and this one guy to me said today, you know that there's that article that you gave me? I just looked at it like a little bit. And I said, what? A little bit? You mean you didn't look at it at all? Yeah, it's okay. We didn't look at it at all. So, and then we laughed about it. All right? So there's something about the ability to enjoy one another's company, to see different pieces of a person's personality and different pieces of our own personality. But one of the things that I found is that when I engage in that kind of conversation, I change. And people help me to change. People help me to adjust. So, what does that mean for you? Well, I understand that every once in a while, you watch a movie together. You know, you're doing around a meal, and you're making sure, like tonight, we're done by 8 o'clock. Okay? And that's very important to do. Oops, I see what I did. Thank you, Nancy. It's very important to be able to do that, to spend some time together. A movie, whatever. And recently, I think we watched or are going to watch The Breeding. And to be able just to do that together is very helpful. Okay? And again, it's a means of conversation. It's a means of being with each other. So, a moment that's very important in the community, the mission, is to have fun. So that's number 3. So meals, prayer, fun. The next is the opposite. Meetings. Okay. And the fact of the matter is, they're very important moments when important communication takes place. Now, sometimes, as we know, it can be like, not too much is going on. But the most important thing is we got to be able to talk together in order to act together. Okay? And meetings have a way of bringing us together So just imagine if we didn't talk without meetings. Suppose we didn't have a meeting and then decisions were made for us. It's not helpful. It's important to be able to talk things through together because we're all adults. And certainly, we all bear a responsibility in the house and in our ministries for different things. And there are things that come up with regard to our congregations that are very important to discuss because they reflect not only on our present, but also on our future. Okay? And so that becomes very, very important. And again, you know, coming from your traditions, from your cultures, how important it is to try to get some kind of mutual understanding of the ways that we need to be together as sisters. It's significant, it's vital. So, simple dialogue, the ability to draw out feelings and thoughts, and to give one's own reactions without being defensive or aggressive. In other words, defensive is no. Aggressive is yes. You gotta find the midpoint all the time. Okay. So far, 4 moments: meals, prayer, fun, meetings. Last moment, only in terms of what I'm bringing up tonight: apostolic ministry. Community is for mission. Okay? You clearly, are a community for mission in terms of the kinds of works that you do, the kinds of people that you minister to and with. Okay? It's very similar to our own heroism. Okay? As Vincentius, as Lazarus. So, to be able to work together, to be able to cooperate with one another, and to be proud of what we try to do, and to have that sense of being together. Plus, a very important thing is interest, being interested in what one another does. There's an episode in a TV series that no longer exists called Seinfeld, and this guy Kramer is talking to Jerry, and Jerry is thinking of getting married, and Kramer says, "What? You're thinking of getting married? Are you crazy? In the morning, there's a question. In the evening, there's a question. When you come home, there's a question. No. But the thing is, someone being interested in what we do and who we are, we being interested in what someone else does and who that person is, especially for the values that we're sharing together, is very, very significant, very, very vital. It's life-giving. So those are the 5 moments: meals, prayer, fun, meetings, ministry, apostolate. Do you follow me so far? Okay. So this is what I would like to do. Now you're going to kill me. So how about you 3 get together? Just sit together. You 2 stay right there. Can you get together back there? Well, anyway, you do that. And let's see. Just these 3 here. Okay, you have to move a little bit. These 3 here. Might have to move a little bit. Okay? All right. Everyone loves this. You know that. So, I would like you in your group. I'm going to give you like 10 minutes. And, 10 minutes. 2 questions. One, looking at those 5 moments, which one is the one that's most life-giving for you? That is, that you look at it and you say, this is important for me. Okay? And that's your experience. Second question, which one needs improvement? Okay? So we try that again. Or try it without the mic. 1, what's the moment that is life-giving for you? You look at it and you experience it and you say, this helps me to be a sister of the precious blood. Clearly. Second question is, you look at it and you say, which of those 5 moments would you say, I would like to improve in? We need to improve on. We need to work better at in order to be a healthy sister of the precious blood as individuals and as a community. You got me, or is that crazy? Clear? All right? Sisters, all right? You got it? All right? So, we'll give you 10 minutes, and I will keep time, and then we'll come back and then just like to hear what you guys said. Okay? Anything you want to share, we're just talking with each other. All right? And that will be that. All right. See you in 10. Be ready here.
You only say what is giving me fun, that's all. But we explained here when I was trying to see where the keep quiet. How did that come in? Yeah, it's what that was.
Five more minutes.
about this meat meal in the lunch. Do you like lunch? You really do
seconds. All right, wrap it up. One of the things that I noticed was this, as I turned to you, is that there's a big sign here that says, please do not cover Mike. And guess who covered the mic? Me. You gotta be able to laugh at yourself. You really do. So, just, whatever you want to share from your group on either question, I would ask you to share. If you want to go from where you are, that's fine. If you want to come up here, it's fine. So whatever works, but I would want you to be heard. So, is there anything from your group that you want to share that you heard each other say about either of those two questions? So I'd like someone to speak from each group, at least that.
We have a microphone. Yeah, we can use microphone.
We have a little mic.
Oh, that's it. Oh, great.
Relatively mic.
You don't have to walk up there. Some of us.
Oh, no, I'm not going to walk up, but if I could go down to you, that would be super.
Yeah, cheers, nice.
Oh, great. All right, no excuses now.
So you can use the mic in a small. Yeah. So that
I hear it.
also.
Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah.
I think it's not. That's. Okay. Let's try it. So who raised your hand here?
Our group said the things they really appreciate is coming together for meals. That during that time it can be times of fun together, times of really enjoying each other, times of learning new things about each other, and it can be very refreshing. And the second was the celebration of the Eucharist that brings us together. Unanimously, we all felt there's a challenge to be had regarding meetings on both sides. Either they're not held and we never have a meeting and the need to have meetings. And the other side of it is you call a meeting and nobody talks. So meetings are a challenge. They're a challenge at provincial level, they're a challenge at local level, and we do feel that in order to identify the problem with meeting, we need to have a meeting to talk about why our meetings don't work.
Others?
prayer, ministry, and meals. All these points are covered by what we mentioned. There's fun in the meals. There's fun in prayer. When we sing Upefumulo Wame, that's fun. In our ministry is crown what our Father Founder has said, joyful, valiant women. So we find that in our different ministries, we interact with people, we interact with one another, and when we come home, sharing the meal, we talk about all these experiences in school with the kids, up in the retreat center with different groups, in the hospital. So thank you. Our charism, it shines out. So thank you. And then we looked at the improvement. Are we going to do that?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Thank you. The improvement we are really lamenting for meetings. Meetings are necessary. We have a certain gulf between each other, because we don't sit and talk. I carry my burdens, I don't open up and say to somebody, and you find that sometimes one is, maybe sometimes we are low. You are one is carrying herself or carrying the world on their own. But in the meetings as a community, we can say, okay, what's going on? What can be improved? So meetings are necessary to nourish us and widen our understanding of each other. And it is in these meetings that we get the dissemination of information. There is a lot going on, even a little bit of political situations. The little politics which is around can be disseminated, and then it gives knowledge to me in my different situation. And then these meetings unite and unify us and make us a community, a congregation, a province. We are lamenting for meetings so that we can be one with maybe the other province, the other group or other sisters on the other side of the border. Thank you.
I'm not going to point. I'm waiting. I'd like to hear something from each group. That way, everybody is spoken.
In our group, when we discussed, there are one points which we find life in communities. Prayer, we found prayer gives us life, especially in the Eucharist is where we meet with Jesus, and as missionary sisters of the precious blood, without Jesus with us, we can't do anything. So the meals was the points which give us the life, and also when we look the meals, we need that to nourish our body and also spiritual. So meals is very important. If we don't eat natural food, we won't be able to do those postulates. We won't be able to do what we are called for. So meals we found is one which is giving life in everything. And also the Eucharist. You can't get Eucharist without prayer. We found out that prayer comes inside the meals. Before you get that Eucharist, you are in prayer already. So the meals comes as life-giving. When we found the points which we need the improvement, I think we didn't have any different with the other groups which have spoken. We found meetings. There's a difficulties for meetings to share and also to listen to others. And that meetings is where you are going to listen to another sister, and that meetings is where you are going to share, and in that meetings is when you are going to get something for improvement. It is where you will see where are we going. Without those meetings, it is very difficult for improvement in whatever we are doing. So we found as a community here at the Precious Blood Convent, I think that was the something which is need for improvement so that we can move forward for what God has called for. In our group, we came up with some points. The first one was meals, whereby we come together and we share life together, which gives life more to the community. But again, the more life-giving experience came up during prayers, that we meet together and it brings joy and draws us closer to God and with each other, especially when we come to pray together as a community. And during Eucharistic celebration, we really commune with God and with each other. And some points to improve, I think we have the same as the other groups, but I think we have more. So the first one was about the ministry, whereby in the ministry, I think we tend to take it as personal, but it's for the community. So we need to help each other. Like if you see somebody has a ministry and there's a need of help, it's good to show up and offer help. And another point was about meetings. And for us, we came up with freedom to share. Like I can share without the fear of being judged or being condemned or anything to happen. So I think there's fear of expressing ourselves to some of us, including myself, I think. And we talked of fun, that we have more fun in meals, but I think we need more fun outside of meals.
You guys are very clear. You are.
Last one, list.
I find the mission is the most difficult, especially going to all different kinds of places, from the Caribbean to the tippy top of Lake Superior. I appreciated all of the experience that I had, but it was sometimes very difficult, especially when there was a natural disaster and you have a little baby on your lap and the lake is overflowing and right above that is the train track. I'll never forget that. I hope Ashes know I still shake, because that little guy was holding on to my neck and it really felt like it was choking me. He was so scared. And the adults were in the back of the pickup truck. But all of these experiences have been mission. mission from the Caribbean to the tippy top of Lake Superior. And still, when I came back here, there was still mission. There was also mission for the daycare center here in Shillington. Those kids needed fresh air. You think it's not important. It's very important. Shillington, the daycare center was super important, very important, especially coming to the kitchen and seeing the old nuns cooking and how good that was. Mission is, to me, the most difficult, but I think the most important.
That I have this microphone, which makes it very simple. You all articulated very clearly what you saw as life-giving, what you see as life-giving, and what you see as challenging. Welcome to the human race. Okay? And then second, community is a gift from God. It's a human reality, and you've certainly expressed that here. And it's also a divine reality, and you've expressed it here. And it's God working with us as individuals and as a community. So, you're at a healthy point because you clearly know what's life-giving and you clearly know what's challenging. So you build on the life-giving and you do something about the challenging. Is it going to be perfect? No. We live in an imperfect world, I've often been told. And I don't have to convince you of that. You know that. But someone once put it this way. The person who loves their idea of community, notice how I'm phrasing this, more than the community itself, is a destroyer of community. That is to say, the person who has the ideal of what it should be, what I think it should be, rather than dealing with the real people that are in, destroys it. Whereas when you deal with the real people who are in, that builds it. It's a human reality, and it's a divine reality. And we work with it. And God doesn't say, well, you figure it out. Okay? Because we come together. Okay? And all those moments are where God is. Sometimes we have to look a little more deeply for God in those moments. But God is really there. Okay? Sometimes God is saying, good job, you guys are doing it. Sometimes God is saying, you know what? You gotta stick with this a little longer. Come at it a little more directly. That's the will of God. That's the way God works. Okay, and that's what makes it so vital, so alive. And finally, and most importantly, okay, we don't live this by ourselves. To live community by ourselves, not going to survive. But when we try to be together and work together and value together and pray together, because, you know, we're in a lot of different cultures, but there are a lot of similar gospel values in this room. Okay? A lot of similar human feelings in this room. Okay? That bring us together rather than divide us. So you're gifted as a community in some very real ways. And last of all, because it's almost 8 o'clock, is very important, is this. I chose to present these moments these 5 moments tonight as a way of coming at this whole thing, because they're moments that we all experience and that we all can easily identify with. We don't have to be conceptual tonight, okay? It's important to be real. And when we're real, then it takes hold of us, okay? And so your responses tonight speak of that, okay? And it's already life-giving. You know the challenges, but you're not going to run away from them. You're going to try to face them and deal with them. And the fact that we're in the chapel is a piece of where this is where God works. This is where God works best with us as a group, as a faith community. It's 8 o'clock. It's the witching hour. And I say thank you very much for bringing me with you.
Father, we thank you very much for coming all this way to be with us this evening, even though you called 8 o'clock the witching hour. We told Father to remember some of us go to bed early and quote unquote. We appreciate it very much, and we feel that you're part of us, and our roots go back a long time, and we pray that God will bless you in your formation ministry as you continue on. And Father said he would discern whether he would retire here as our chaplain.
Just to make sure he goes to the right room.
So thank you very much, and God bless you. This was a good way for us to pull together once more. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
It's just a pleasure to be with you guys. Very much. Thanks.
Thank you. Come again.
Okay. Thanks.